Constitution Hill, East India Dock double, how solid?
I dare you.
Way too big at 50 to 1.
Goodness me, Sam, you've absolutely jinxed this.
Hello and welcome along to this week's episode of Next Gen Racing. Here for your weekend preview. As always, do like, comment, share and subscribe. Still 90% of our average viewers aren't subscribed to the channel. It is not hard to do. Click the bottom, it's just below. If you're on a phone, you'll see it just underneath the video. And if you're on a YouTube video, you're on your laptop, you can click on the subscribe button as well. Do so. Get us to 3,000 subscribers, please. We've got some cracking action this weekend, Jack. We've got Cheltenham, we've got some decent racing at Doncaster, and we've also got Meydan to look forward to. A cracking card on Friday there, so we'll be giving a good insight to that. But we're not going to have a big topic this week. We've got quite a few races to cover and plenty of tips to give out. But before we get into those tips, Jack, I just want to find out what you spent your winnings on after last weekend. I don't think we haven't had many times where we've cleared a whole card. I think we might have had it once or twice, but God, what a weekend last weekend was.
Yeah, we couldn't quite believe it, could we? I always have a go at you when you kind of talk something up and almost talk it into fruition before it's happened. And when your best bet had landed at 8 to 1 and the first leg of my each way double had landed, and you're going, oh my word, Outer Belly's going to go in here. He's been hammered. I thought, goodness me, Sam, you've absolutely jinxed this. He may as well be about 100 to 1 chance now, but he did it in good style, gritted it out, and yeah, our three best bets altogether are 500 to 1 treble. I think I was nowhere near shrewd enough to back that, but goodness me, what a weekend.
Yes, I used to. I don't do it anymore, but I used to put £1 on all of our tips together in like a big multiple acca, right? And it would never pay off, but I did it just in case, right? And the weekend I didn't do it was last weekend. So what had happened was we would have got to that last leg, and the last race would have been John Bon. And I was kind of thinking in my head, a bit like if you're on deal or no deal, and if you've dealt early and you're hoping all the big numbers come. I was hoping John Bon would get beat just so that I knew that acca didn't come in. But unfortunately, John Bon, the odds-on shot that we both picked, ended up going and winning as well. But it is what it is. But well done if you were on any. I'd love to know in the comments, actually, if anyone was on Jack's double, if you were on the treble, if you're on all the best bets, or whether you landed the sixfold or whatever it was. But yeah, do let us know, because it will make me very jealous because I didn't have any of it. Right, let's get into the racing then, Jack. And like I say, we've got Cheltenham and Doncaster. We're covering 4 races that we're looking at from Cheltenham. We won't be covering Constitution Hill's race for obvious reasons, but we'll have a quick chat about him. But we've got 4 decent races there, and then one from Doncaster. And Cheltenham is where we start with the 12:40 there, which is the 2.5 mile time form. Novices Handicap Chase is a Class 2 event where Jaguar is the 2 to 1 favourite. Splendent Grey's 4 to 1. Masaccio 15 to 2. Billy the Real Big Red is 8 to 1. Ryan's Rocket 8 to 1. Whistle Stop Tour 10s. Guard Your Dreams 11s. And Walking on Air is 40 to 1. Jack, I'll give a first selection in this, but I'm going to go with the consistent Resplendent Grey in this one for myself. He was second to Highland here at the November meeting, and I thought he ran a cracker that day. He actually put up an RPR of 142. Only Masaccio's actually bettered that RPR of 143 when he was second to the Jukebox Man at Newbury. But I thought Highland, I know he ran a decent race at Kempton at Christmas behind the Jukebox Man again, giving him a good mention. That form looks really strong with Highland, I feel, and just looking at the weights, I know they're joint top weight, Masaccio and Resplendent Grey, but I think Ollie Murphy's horse, I think, is the one that's definitely taking steps forwards. And Jaguar's one of these horses where he's at the top of the market based on his potential. I don't think he's shown me just enough yet. I'm not saying he can't go and win this, but I just find Masaccio and Resplendent Grey are much more solid in here. And I just think Resplendent Grey is going to keep taking those steps forward. And like I say, I was really impressed by that performance by Highland at the November meeting here at Cheltenham. So Resplendent Grey for me. Jack, who are you with?
Yeah, no, it's a decent little opener for us to have a look at. Jaguar, I completely agree. He's priced on connections and potential. He's consistently beaten at short prices as well. He's been at 11 to 8 last start. Even when he was in France, he's been at 4s. He's been at 7 to 2 and 3 to 1 as well last year at Uttoxeter behind Santos Blue. 2 to 1's an awfully short price, I think, to be getting involved at. I think you're right. The head, looking towards the top weights, Resplendent Grey and Masaccio is the way to go. I'm actually going the way of Masaccio. More of a price difference. I think they're pretty closely matched, actually, but I think the few points you're probably going Resplendent Grey. I think has more to offer in terms of potential, but I think this being eased in grade here for Masaccio, of course, in the Quarto Star, couldn't live with the Jukebox Man at all. I think the step back in trip is going to suit. Was only beaten 2 lengths, of course, by the Jukebox Man in the John Frankham. So now the step back to 2 mile 4. There's not a Jukebox Man in there, and I think 15-2 around there is not a bad price for Masaccio.
Okay, well, it doesn't seem like we've stopped agreeing yet because we're both in agreement that Masaccio and Resplendent Grey are the ones that are worth taking Jaguar on with. But you're going to side with Masaccio just based on the prices, and I'll be with Resplendent Grey in the opener from Cheltenham on Saturday. Let's go on to the feature handicap chase there at Cheltenham on Saturday. The 150 is the Betfair Exchange handicap chase, again, just over 2.5 miles. And Iroko is the 7-2 favourite here. Another one for JP McManus at the top of the market. Ginny's Destiny is 4-1. Imperial Saint 13-2. Moon d'Orange is 8-1. Soul Icon 17-2. Double figures about the rest of them in here, Jack. This one here is a cracking race. I always enjoy these Cheltenham handicap chase, big handicap chases, and you kind of see the same performers turning up for these. And it is a fascinating one. What do we make at the top of the market? Is there one at a price that you like?
I think this is actually a really, really good race. It's pretty interesting. You got Iroko, of course, who fell at Ascot last time out. You got Imperial Saint. They've decided to come here and go instead of going to the novice chase. You got Ginny's Destiny, who I think somewhat needs to bounce back from 2 disappointing efforts this year. And then you got Soul Icon, who went and won the Desert Orchid. Yes, he's still 5th in the betting. So I think it is a decent race. It's funny. I was talking down the chances of Gemerond last time out when he was 11-4, but there's a price for everything, and he's a double figure price here, and he just went off like the absolute clappers when he was beaten by Springwell Bay last time out. But I was actually quite impressed with his win against Madara. He did get quite an easy time of it in front, but he still kind of won pretty cosily, I thought. And a mark of 144, is he £5-10 well in? Maybe not, but I think he's just a consistent performer. And at 10-1, I really don't think he's the worst each way play here. One thing I would say about the previous race, actually, there's a few races we're going to go over, which 8 runners, but it looks like there'll be a non-runner. Walking on Air in the last, I forgot to mention, that's his second preference to go there. So I would watch out if you're betting each way in a couple of the races that we are going to mention. I know that the novice hurdle that we come on to later is one of those. But coming back to this, I think Gemerond at 10-1 is a respectable each way price. I'm also interested to see how Imperial Saint's going to go on in this open grade.
Okay, Gemerond is the one for Jack then. I wasn't going to go mad in this race, Jack. I mean, usually I like these big handicap chases and hurdles that we can get onto, but it was a race I found really tough. I did think I know he's an older boy and he's been running in veterans chases, but the course and distance winner Torn and Frayed looked a little bit dangerous off a low weight in here. Like I say, he's been running in the veteran series. He won over the exact course and distance back in 2022 in this race. But like I say, he's an older horse. He is one that could just run into places. If he puts in that RPR of 138 that he did at Warwick, 2 starts back, I wouldn't rule him out of running a big race in this. I agree with you on the fact that the turn of second Ginny's Destiny is the one that definitely needs to bounce back to form and off top weight. This won't be an easy task, but we know Ginny's Destiny probably does have the ability somewhere in there. It's just whether this season can find that. But yeah, not a big one for me, but I thought Torn and Frayed looked a little bit too big at 25-1 in the 150. Right, over to Doncaster now. This is where we kind of split the card. We go to Doncaster for a novice hurdle, which we did exceptionally well in last week by agreeing on Dedicated Hero 8-1, which was a best bet that we landed. But this one here is a fascinating race where Western Knight is 3-1, Marchand 2 is 5-1, Moon Rocket is 5-1, Gamester's Guy is 8-1, Jigs Force 10-1, Yellow Car 20-1, Sunset Hill 25-1, and Frisbee 66-1. I should have mentioned this is the Temps Network River Don Novices Hurdle Grade 2, just over 3 miles. We've already spoken off air, Jack. We don't agree in this, not quite. But I was going to go with Moon Rocket in this one, who's unbeaten for Kim Bailey and Matt Nichols. Won by 8 lengths at Southall last time out, and then won by 12 lengths at Doncaster prior to that. He did everything so easily, Jack, and he's another horse where we just don't know where that potential lies in this. I think with regards to the favourite, we know that this horse has graded form in Western Knight, and he's ran a decent race against some decent horses. There's no doubt about it. With this horse here, when you see horses win by this distance and do it so easily, we just know that, the ceiling hasn't quite been reached there. And I've watched the races back, and similar to Dedicated Hero last time, I just watched the way this horse jumps and just looks so solid. And I think definitely take steps forward. The one worry for me would be the trainer combination currently aren't going at the best of strike rate, 0 winners in the last 14 days. But at the end of the day, Jack, there has to be a turning point for these stats. So it could be on Saturday. So yeah, I'm going to go with Moon Rocket in the 205 River. Don, who are you with?
There does indeed need to be a turning point. It's a good race, I agree. I think you can pick holes in the top two in the market, Western Knight and Ma Shantu, I want to say. The ground at the moment's good to soft, but it looks like there could be a decent bit of rain coming. So if there is that rain coming, I think it could turn into a bit of a bog, which I don't think will suit either Western Knight and Ma Shantu. So I think this race is probably between Moon Rocket and Jigs Force. Gamester's Guy, another one of those that first preference at the moment is to actually go to Cheltenham. So be aware if you're betting each way here. And I actually think Jigs Force is a decent little win only bet at anything above really 15-2. He pulled like an absolute train last time out and somehow made all, but when he did kind of kick into gear after the last, he absolutely flew home over 2.5 miles at Foss last. The time wasn't too bad. They did say, Ben Pauling did say he wanted to keep him to 2.5 miles. I'm somewhat surprised they're stepping him up to 3 miles. But if they can get him to settle, I think he's got loads of ability, and I think he's way too big a price. He won a point over 3 miles on heavy ground, beating Walking on a Dream, who's since come out and won over hurdles and is rated 113 and ran in a grade 2 at Haydock, was pulled up, but clearly isn't Eustace on his own. So I think Jigs Force is actually a pretty solid bet here an each way price. I think 15-2, I'm going to back him win only, as I say, because I think it will go down to 7 runners. But on the basis that I don't want to be backing either a top two in the market, I completely agree with you. Moon Rocket is the other one to keep an eye on, but I think Jigs Force is a pretty nice bet here at around 15-2.
There we go. Jigs Force then. Yeah, do remember those double entries. Just be careful of that, Jack. Giving a good bit of advice there that you might not be getting the free places that are usually on offer in these races come Saturday. So do watch out for that. Right, back to Cheltenham we go then, Jack, for probably the feature on the card. Not the feature horse, but the feature race. The 225 is the Betfair Cotswold Chase, a grade 2 over 3 mile, 1.5 furlongs. Long Press is the 11-8 favourite. Gentleman's Game is 11-4. Chantry House 8-1. Stage Star is 9-1. Delta Work 25-1. And Tommy Bow is 66-1. I think this is a cracking little renewal of this race. I wouldn't say you've got superstars in here, but it looks like a cracking renewal to try and solve. And look, you've got the King George third in here against the Savills Chase third. You've got a last time out Cheltenham winner in Chantry House. You've got a former Turner's Chase winner, a cross-country specialist, and then the lovable Tommy Bow, unless you backed him in that cross-country chase at the back end of last year. But, Jack, it is a really good race. I've got plenty of notes on this, but I'll let you go first. What did we make of the Cotswold Chase?
It's a good race, isn't it? It's a bit of a muddling race, as I think the Cotswolds usually is. I think Long Press is definitely a worthy favourite. I think going left-handed is going to suit. He was jumping to his left at Kempton last time out. Of course, he beat Protectorate really nicely back in last January, and I think conditions will be in his favour. He's 11-8. Am I going to get involved around even money 11-8? Probably not. He's a 10-year-old. He still retains lots of ability, don't get me wrong here. And Chantry House even down at 8-1, 11-year-old, 9-year-olds in there who I think are probably a little bit more informed. And I'm actually going to go with Stage Star stepping up in trip, actually. I think he might just be able to dictate affairs out in front. And if he does, I actually don't think he's the worst hope of staying. He hasn't obviously run over this trip before. It looks like it's maybe going to take him out of his comfort zone, but I didn't mind his reappearance when he was beaten by Manila Drama, and we know that he does like Cheltenham. He wasn't really seen to best effect when Gemarand won there, but he's an each way price, and I know Long Press kind of seems like the rock solid favourite, but it's not really with me to be backing Psyche at even money, so I think Stage Star is where I'm going to stick my neck out for in here, Sam. Okay,
Stage Star for Jack then. So you say Long Press is the worthy favourite. I thought there was a little bit too much of a difference between Long Press and Gentleman's Game. Gentleman's Game is probably going to be the one that I go with in here. But I mentioned just at the start while we were doing the market that King George third and the Savills Chase third. But both of these were close enough to 12 lengths off the winner in their respected races. And if you had asked me now which race was stronger, the King George or the Savills, then the Savills is the answer to that with Galopin de Champs and Factor File rather than Banbridge and Ile-Francais. So look, he's the joint youngest in the field at the age of 9. I feel like he's improving. He's now on a career high mark. He's rated 160. And I actually feel like, looking at the race, I feel like there's a little bit of value in his Gold Cup price at 40-1 as well. I really do. I'm not saying he's going to win a Gold Cup. I think Gallopin de Champ's going to go and do that. But I think, look, if Factor File were to make the potential switch to a Ryanair, let's say, then there is each way value in Gentleman's Game at 40-1 for that race. But yeah, no, I get Long Press, and I've actually been a big fan of Long Press ever since he made his debut. I was kind of there going, look, hopefully this will turn out to be a proper superstar. Hasn't quite worked out. I know there's been injuries in between, but I just think Gentleman's Game, that Savills run was really, really strong. I think we'll find that will just get backed up again over the DRF next week. So yeah, Gentleman's Game for me, I think 11-4. I just think there's a bit too much in the difference in price. I would have had this horse at around 7-4, 2-1. So 11-4, Gentleman's Game is the way I'm going to go in the Cotswold Chase. We skip a race now, Jack. We'll discuss that race at the end of this preview, but we move on now to the 3:35, which is the Betfair Cleeve Hurdle, Grade 2 over 3 miles, where Crambo is topping the market at 9-4. Strong Leader 5-2. Gal Road is 5-1. Monmoral 8-1. Botox Has, a good friend of mine, is 14-1. Garlaw is 20-1. Kerry Hill 22s, and Transmission is the outside lots at 33-1. I'm a little bit excited about a horse in here, Jack, and I'm not actually sure why, but I really like Strong Leader. It's weird looking at this horse's form, especially in the last couple of runs. You'd be like, why are you excited by him? But he has had wind surgery, and I feel like this just could be the making of Strong Leader. He was third in this race last year, but there was clearly something amiss when finishing 10th last time out in the long walk hurdle. There's no way that performance was the real Strong Leader, and they've obviously given wind surgery based on that run. Now, I did go into this season thinking he was the best of the British in terms of Stayers Hurdle contenders. I had it in my mind that this horse here would be our Stayers Hurdle horse from Britain. Not going to beat Tierpo, I highly doubt that. But
Langadan.
Let's not talk about Langadan. And look, the 2 wins prior to that flop at Ascot were really, really good. Wasn't beaten too much, but looked really solid. And I was a bit shocked. I thought Strong Leader was a fairly solid horse in that long walk. And like I say, it all went amiss. But sometimes I like backing horses after they run off a wind surgery, knowing what's happened and horse getting used to the wind surgery. But I got a feeling this could just bring him back to form. And I think the 5-2 on offer over the long walk hurdle winner in Crambo, I think that could be a little bit of a solid bet. So I'm going to keep the faith just one more time with Strong Leader on Saturday, Jack. How did you look at this?
Yeah, another good race. I think you're right. Strong Leader, I think we'll know how he's doing before the off, because 5-2 is not a bad price, is it really? No. Considering he started 11-8, of course, for the long walk, and for Ascot last time out, and he was so impressive at Newbury, you'd think he'd probably demand favouritism here. I know Crambo went and won in the long walk, but he's got a little bit to prove at Cheltenham. He was pretty disappointed in the Stayers. Strong Leader, of course, was third in this last year, I think behind Noble Yates and Paisley Park. Has a little bit of Cheltenham form. He was also disappointing in the Stayers Hurdle. I actually thought Gal Road was one that could go really well. I just don't think he's too much of a price. It was really annoying. I thought he'd be 7-8-1 or even a little bit bigger, and I thought Gal Road will be a nice bet in here. Of course, absolutely loves this course and distance. Has been running second in some big handicaps off 12 stone. Proved he was absolutely no mug last time out on New Year's Day in the real kill when he kind of laid it down to lucky place. Clearly didn't really. I think the trip was just a little bit insufficient for him. He's stepping up, of course, back to his favoured 3 miles. He gets £6 off the first 2 in the market, and I thought 5-1. I reckon he'll drift a little bit from there, 4-5-1. So if he's around 7-1, I think Gal Road's a decent price. Hopefully it'll be a decent each way price as well. It's interesting that Garlaw as well is coming back to hurdles. I think his best Racing Post rating is 111 over hurdles. So intrigued that he's coming back to hurdles. Of course, he's a very useful chaser. I think he recorded an RPR of 158 in the Oaksey chase over nearly 3 miles. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes over 3 miles over hurdles. But I will be sticking with Gal Road. But I agree with you. Strong Leader is looking like an okay price at the moment, Sam.
Okay, yeah, Gal Road. God knows how many seconds to this horse's name this season, but hopefully Jack will be trying to rely on this horse to get a win on Saturday. I will just quickly mention, Jack, the 2 kind of other big races on the card. You've got the 115, which is the Triumph Hurdle Trial, which has East India Dock, and then obviously the Unibet Hurdle at 3 o'clock with Constitution Hill not facing Lossiemouth. We were all hoping to see part 2 of that, but we're not seeing that, and it looks like a penalty kick for Constitution Hill. But for favourite backers, Jack, Constitution Hill, East India Dock double, how solid?
Oh, yeah, look at that. That's rock solid, isn't it? Let's get involved at Constitution Hill. What is he? 12's on, 16's on, whatever it is. Goodness me, it's probably going to be a procession. Hopefully, it's a procession and he gets to Cheltenham in one piece. Still wouldn't be surprised if he's withdrawn between now and Saturday, mind you. But yeah, East India Dock, I think he's done everything he's had to do. Of course, Paul Nicholls' debutant, who's running in the Triumph Trial first up. It's one of the Johnny Delahay's kind of tried and tested plans that they try to do with a French import and bring it over with a high rating to this race. So it'll be interesting to see how Sauvignon gets on, but I think East India Dock is definitely the one to beat, and I think he'll go and win it well.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing some potential Cheltenham Festival winners on Saturday at Cheltenham. So yeah, good luck with all your bets in the Saturday action from Cheltenham and Doncaster. Let us know down in the comments who you fancy this weekend. Jack, we haven't got any other bets this weekend. We've discussed that off air, but we have got some cracking action from an international angle from Dubai. We see the return of the Dubai World Cup winner in Laurel River, who did us some favours last year. And we also see Romantic Warrior from Hong Kong. I'll ask you about that horse in just a second. But I've got a couple, Jack, that I want to give a mention to. I'll give my 50-1 poke a shout second. I know it's not in time order, but the first one's going to be Pontos in the 350 on Friday. Course and distance winner who absolutely loves the quick surface in Meydan. He was actually second in this last year after winning a listed contest before the new year, and he was actually fourth in that listed contest this year, or last year prior to this race. And he reared the start, and there were a few excuses to be made. I do think that 8-1 is slightly too big about a horse who absolutely loves this track. So yeah, 8-1 about Pontos. And now the other one comes in the 315, and Laurel River is 8-13 in this race. But I went through and I had a look at the horse in here, and Salim bin Gadai has two horses in here, and one of them, Crown Estate, is way, way, way too big at 50-1. I cannot believe the price of this horse. He made his stable debut a couple of weeks back, and I thought his performance was much better than the 3 1/4 length victory that he made. He made this mad move 3 furlongs out, about 8 wide with no cover coming around the bend. Jack actually watched it before we came on, and look, like I say, he won cozier than it suggests. He won this in fairly easy fashion. It looked like hands and heels in the final couple of furlongs. It came so wide. He looks much better on the dirt than he did on the turf when he was with the Gosdens in the UK, and this could just be the making of him. There are much worse bets than 50-1 on this horse, Jack, I'd have to say, and you've watched it. The 50-1, can I best bet that this week?
I dare you.
Oh, I might just do it. Who? I mean, the other horse that's out there, Jack, who's an odds-on shot is Romantic Warrior. I just want to ask about you and the Jebel Hatter. Obviously, Hong Kong angles. You've seen plenty of Romantic Warrior. What did you make of the chances of this horse? Obviously, taking on a Charlie Appleby horse who could cause an upset.
Yeah, it's a cracking race, isn't it? I thought Romantic Warrior, for all his globe-trotting success, was actually a touch on the short side. Measured Time, of course, won the race last year, absolutely smashed the track record last time out in Group 2, winning it by 7 lengths when he was 6-1 on. I think he's probably, dare I say it, a price actually to beat Romantic Warrior at 5-2, which pains me to say it because I'd love to see Romantic Warrior go and win and fly the flag for Hong Kong. Look, he's beaten everything that's been put before him in the past year and a half. He's got 9 Group 1s to his name. He's beaten the likes of Luxembourg, Voyage Bubble. They've gone on one Group 1 since. Last time out, destroyed Liberty Island in the Hong Kong Cup. He's won over a mile at Tokyo in the Yasuda Kinen. 9 furlongs at Meydan. Asked a little bit more of him. Perhaps his speed's going to be tested a little bit more, but he's drawn one. He's going to bounce out. James McDonald, I think his first time riding at Meydan, but would I be back him at 7-4 on? I think Measured Time is definitely the bet, although he has to improve £5. Danny Shum said that probably Romantic Warrior is 80-90%, and his main target is looking at either the Saudi Cup and then the Dubai Turf or the Dubai World Cup. So I'm really hoping Romantic Warrior can go and win. The head saying Measured Time is definitely the bet at around 5-2 though. So it'd be a good matchup. I don't think anything else is going to get into it outside the front 2 in the market, and hopefully Romantic Warrior can do Measured Time for my sins.
Okay, is that it from you from Meydan, or have you got anything else?
Yeah, no, that's it for me. I think Measured Time's a good bet to beat Romantic Warrior, dare I say it, but that's all for me.
That's fine. There we go then. That is the angles from Meydan on Friday. So a little bit of time to get those bets on if you fancy anything there. Right time for the best bets of the week. And then Jack. And do you know what? sod it. We landed a 55-1 double last week and an 8-1 best bet. Let's just keep the big prices up. I'm going to take a risk in the Firebreak Stakes at Meydan, 3:15 on Friday. I'm going to go with Crown Estate. So I'll go big and bold. What are you going with this week?
I think if Gal Road was a little bit of a bigger price, he'd probably be the nap in the Cleeve hurdle. But I'm going to go for Chig's Force in the River Don. Hopefully he can settle, and if he does, I think he's going to absolutely relish conditions over the 3 miles.
How about that then? A 50-1 plus selection as a nap again this week, and another nap in a novice hurdle. It's just the way we do things nowadays. So you get them on a regular basis. Jack, good luck with all your bets this week, and I will make sure that I have 10p on the big 6 time or whatever we've got this week. Hopefully we can land something, but God knows what will happen because we haven't agreed as much this week. But yeah, big thanks to Jack as always. Do like, comment, share, and subscribe. Like I say, hit that subscribe button. Get us to 3,000 subscribers. We're soon going to be discussing, Jack and I've got to have a discussion about our Cheltenham shows and our ante-post previews. They will be coming very soon. But until then, we'll see you again next week, and thanks very much for watching.